Hey guys, and welcome back to another video on Lumber Capital Log Yard. So I've probably received hundreds of comments at this point from people wondering how I feel about this new setup where the control station is actually at the opposite end, so I'm milling it towards myself instead of away. This is a big difference from our last mill, and I want to cover all of it in today's video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So how do I like milling in reverse? Well, if I'm gonna be honest, it's been kind of hard to get used to because it's hard to tell where to enter the log when it's so far away from you. I'm used to knowing how to gauge the cut because it's closer to me so I can really see, but being so far away, that's tricky. And you have the blade, the teeth, the cutting part actually coming at you, which some people would think is scary, but honestly from over here, it's completely safe. Nothing to really worry about. Well, except the Debarker. I've gotten hit a couple times by the Debarker because it's throwing a lot of stuff at me. I'll talk a little bit later in today's video how we're going to solve some of these issues. Let's just say that it comes with pros and cons. There's actually two places where you can plug in that control station. One down at that end where it's plugged in right now, and one down at this end. It's actually right there underneath this table. So I technically could cut from this end, you know, the way I would have had the LT40 set up, except for the fact that you kind of need to be in line with the log. Let me just walk around here. I could technically, you know, if I wanted to, I could probably cut right here. This would be about where the 40 was with the control station right here, the material coming off right here. The only issue is that the way we have it set up right now, Jade's pulling off material to my left and my right, and also back. So because of that, I'd really be in her way. So she kicked me down to the other end where I think I'm gonna stay. The whole flip-flop was not really my idea. This is actually how Wood-Mizer recommends that you set it up. There are some cons though that I have to mention about this setup, and that is the Debarker throws a lot of stuff at me. This thing is in charge of making sure that the blade has the longest life as possible, because when these trees are dragged through the mud, the stones, whatever, you know, you can only imagine, right, when they're being skidded out, what they run into. And sometimes, especially when it's been raining and it's muddy out, it'll just be packed full of stones and dirt, and that is one way to really dull your blade quick. So this Debarker throws all that stuff out of the way for the blade, but sitting that down there at that end, I get some of the stones hitting me actually, larger pieces of bark. It's not the best. How we're going to fix that is what I'm actually excited about, because another problem with the mill being so out in the open is that when the wind blows hard, like it is today, thankfully it's not in the wrong direction, but the wind blows a lot of the year. Unfortunately, you wouldn't really think about it until sawdust is blowing into your face, but it sucks and it makes it just really hard to operate. So we are going to build some kind of shack where we're going to put the control station in, and it's going to have a window, and that way, no matter, you know, if it's raining, if it's windy out, and also all that bark freaking hitting my face, it'll just protect me from all of that. So that's kind of one solution to a lot of problems that I'm really trying to push my dad to do as soon as possible, because I want to be comfortable, and running that Debarker kind of scares me at this point. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to about, you know, kind of just changing this to make it better. I think that that'll really just help me at least. So that's one con. The other con is that I'm really far away from Jade, so it's hard to see her down at that end. Communication is a little bit harder. You might not think that that's a big deal, but when you're running machinery that's kind of dangerous, you want to have good communication, and the head of the mill is actually usually covering my vision of her from way down at this end, and it can make it hard to see if she has the material all out of the way or not, whether she's in a place that might be dangerous that I need to watch out for. So being close to her, like down at the other end, like the LT40 was, I feel like was a lot safer just because we could communicate better. Like I said, this is how Wood-Mizer recommends it being set up, and it does work out good. It's all about just kind of situating ourselves to the new layout. But I can't really say any of that without mentioning that there would probably be just as much of a safety concern with the control station down at this end. It's not just about me being in Jade's way. The thing about this mill is it goes fast. If you've seen me talking about this mill before, you've heard me mention that. So because it goes so fast, it's flying pieces back. And if one of them were to just kind of shift this way towards me a little bit, I mean, you're talking about being probably impaled. And yes, I'm operating it, so I can control that. I probably wouldn't let myself be impaled, don't worry. But when you're trying to produce very quickly, stuff happens, and also that might be a slowdown. I see that being a slowdown. The thing about it is it's not like I can just move it back onto the table. I have both hands on the joystick, so that's not really an option. With the other mill, I could easily just, push it a little bit back onto the table when it'd come my way. Again, not really an option with this mill. Hands-on joysticks, not really possible. So that had to be mentioned because there's just really no perfect way to do this. We don't agree to a lot of sponsors because honestly, we're only really interested in the ones that are going to bring our viewers good benefits as well as ourselves. If it's just some China product, nah, sorry, not interested. You know what I mean, right? But today, that changes with a USA-made product that we can actually be proud about. Camel City Mill socks. I have a pair right here. I also have a pair on my feet right now. They're amazing wool socks, very breathable. This is just a great investment for people who work outdoors, just work and need good socks. Socks are more important than people seem to think. They're highly underestimated. I mean, if you have a good pair of socks, you have a good day, and it's just as simple as that. So I have a link to it down in the description with also a discount code. You gotta look them up. Camel City Mill socks, here we go. Everyone that's gotten a pair has been very pleased. So try a pair out for yourself and let us know what you think. I see in the future though something very beautiful where Jade and I have some kind of intercom system that we can communicate back and forth when needed. I have a fancy little hut where I can be nice and cozy inside, and Jade has something, of course, to keep her dry on those nasty days. Of course, we'd like to eventually have a roof over the whole mill, but that's very expensive, more expensive than you might think. It has to be very high because the mill raises up very high. That's why we don't have it under the other roof like the other mill was, because of how much higher it goes. It just simply won't fit. So we're talking about a very large structure. Right now, we're just going to have to make do with something else. I'm currently taking this whole control station inside every night so that it's not out in the weather, because I think that this would be pretty much ruined if it was just left. The mill is a little bit more hardy. So, well, I think that about wraps it up for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Other than that though, we'll see you back here next time. Bye!